Hey guys, this is Ben Edwards, Two Guys on a Mower. We're pretty excited. We're getting ready to head into spring here, but I want to talk real quick about our lawn care programs, give you a description of what we do and what we believe in. We believe in doing things a little bit differently as far as actually taking a whole approach to the lawn, not just running over the grass and cutting it. There's a little bit more that's going on with the lawn. You want to pay attention to the root systems, the soil biology, the soil and stuff like that. So, like when you're cutting the grass throughout the season, you want to make sure that you're not taking off more than 1/3 of the grass at a time. The reason is you don't want to put stress on the root system. When you're taking off more than 1/3, you can put the grass in a state of stress where the root system actually shuts down and stops growing and expanding and focuses on shooting the plant up. If you've worked with us long enough or have a little bit of knowledge of the soil, you know that you want to have a really healthy root system, because where you see the grass, that's just the benefits of having a good root system. As that root system weakens, you're going to have problems with more weeds coming through and thinning out of the grass. So that root system is really important. When we get into a little bit further into the summer, you're getting out of springtime into the summertime, we want to raise the mowing height up to about 3.5 to 4 inches. The reason we do that is because you want to make sure that you're shading the root system. So by keeping that, you're keeping all that hot sun and heat out of the root system, allowing it to continue to do what it needs to do and stay strong for the whole season. Then also an added benefit of doing that is, this is kind of cool when you think about it, that you're able to prevent weeds really just by following a proper practice. You've got weed seeds that are down there, and if they can't get proper sunlight, they're not going to germinate. So as you keep that grass higher, it's blocking those the sun out from getting those seeds, which is going to keep them from germinating. That's really a cool thing, just by following the proper mowing practices. You want to make sure your mower blades are sharp. We believe in sharpening our blades on a consistent basis. You want your blades to always be as sharp as they can be, because as they start to get dull, they start to tear the grass. You've probably seen this from time to time. What will happen is you actually get, like the tops, you'll start to see they look brown, kind of torn, rather than a clean, crisp cut. And that starts to puts the grass through stress, but it also opens it up to a lot of diseases if you're not doing that properly. So you want to make sure your blades are always sharp, whether or not you have a company that does it or you do it yourself. If you start to notice there's the blades aren't looking just real nice, clean, and crisp, you might want to look at getting the blades sharpened. When it comes to the summertime, as far as like when it gets really hot outside, a lot of people have questions. This is probably, I'm going to be honest and say this is probably one of the biggest questions people ask us when they come on board. Is, okay, so you've got a weekly program, what happens if our lawn's not growing? Are you still going to cut when it's going dormant? The answer to that is no. Our teams, we've got a system, and the way we approach it is basically, is it going to make a difference, and is it going to be healthy for the lawn? So obviously, if it's getting closer to 100 degrees outside, it's not healthy to come out and mow your lawn. We need to wait a couple days, wait for it to cool down, and see what's happening. If your grass isn't tall enough, we don't want to just cut it just to cut it. We're not going to drop it down, because you want to keep it at a proper higher height during the summer. Another thing, if your grass is dormant, obviously it's not going to need cut. So that's something to, we're not going to cut it. Basically, it really comes down to, keep it simple. We want to make sure that it's healthy for the lawn, and we want to make sure that we're treating our clients right. I'd rather have a good relationship with our clients and a long-term relationship and to build trust, rather than just run over your lawn and cut it just to make a couple dollars. Because it's about relationships and good keeping the lawn healthy. Okay, let's move on. Going into the wintertime, you want to drop the deck back down as you start to go through the fall. And the reason you're doing that is you want to try to avoid things like snow mold. Whereas you're trying to shade it during the summertime, you don't want a lot of opportunity for moisture to be down in the soil as you get towards the end of the year, because that will just sit there because it's cold outside, right? So the moisture is not being absorbed into the air. Alright, so let's get into a little bit more. We'll cover the basics real quick. That's a little bit more of our different approach, but the basics as far as our program, each week we come out, we're going to mow the yard in a different direction. That creates those nice patterns, keeps the grass standing up straight, and as well as we're going to edge out everything. We're going to edge out the walkways, sidewalks, driveways, and then we're going to also make sure we edge our flower beds. It gives it a real nice, clean, crisp look, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. When we come out, first time we come out to your property, we're going to make sure that we go ahead and we bring out a walk behind edger. To us, that's our way of just like really making a difference. We want those edges to look as nice as they can. So when we come out, first time, we're going to edge out all your driveways, your sidewalks, your street curbs, and put a really nice, clean, fresh, crisp edge on there. We've got special tools that we use after that to maintain that clean, crisp edge on a weekly basis and throughout the season. And then if we need to, we'll always come back out with a walk-behind edger to give it a solid look again. But most of the time, we're able to maintain it solidly throughout the season. The lawn's all about the looks. We want your lawn looking awesome. We want it to look good for you, and we want it to look good for when people are driving past too. That's our billboards. Before we kind of to finish up, before we leave your house, we're gonna make sure everything's cleaned off. We're gonna lightly get any grass that's got in your flower beds. We're gonna clean off all your street curbs. We don't leave grass in the streets. We're gonna make sure your patio furniture is cleaned off. If some grass has got on there somehow, or your patio is cleaned off, we're going to make sure any grass clippings that are on the lawn, they're taken care of, because we don't want you to have that dead grass. Nobody likes to have dead grass laying across their grass. It doesn't look good. It's not professional. And then last thing we do before we leave, we have a system for everything. And really, one of our last systems that we have before anybody leaves the house is we're going to make sure your gate's closed and everything's put back where we found it. If we have to move objects, we're going to put them back. And then we're going to make sure that gate's closed. Because we don't want you to come home. The last thing I want to happen is you come home, let the dog out, you've had a long day, dog goes out, takes off running down the street. Now you're like, man, those long guys. And then you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to give me a phone call, and that's not a phone call I want to have. So we close your gates. We don't want you to save that cardio for the gym when you actually go on purpose. That's a little bit about our programs. Let's talk about our staff real quick. I've got a great team that works for me. We believe in hiring great people, and then we also strongly believe in education. Education to us is really important, not only for our clients, but also for our team. We want to make sure that they understand what's going on. So when you get started with us, one of the first things you do is you go through a safety course. So we have a safety course through Landscape Safety Online. And they go through all the equipment that you're going to use and the proper safety and interaction with people with that equipment. And it kind of really sets the mindset for safety. From there, we have about a week's worth of training that we do based on soil. We're talking about common lawn problems. We're talking about proper turf care. We're talking about all the cultural practices. We're talking about diseases and all kinds of stuff. And we're really educating our team on what's going on in the lawn and common problems and all that kind of stuff, and how to address it, and how through proper practices you're actually able to avoid a lot of that. Cool thing is about that, it actually gives people more of a pride in what they're doing, and they understand too. They understand, hey, if I'm doing it this way, it has a bad result, but if I do it this way, it's actually going to make a difference, rather than just thinking, oh, let's mow the grass. So that's why it's important to us. And everybody that's with us, they enjoy what they do, and part of the reason they enjoy it is because they understand it, and that makes a big difference. All of our services, lastly, to kind of finish up, we back up all of our services with a lawn care guarantee. It's our thorough weekly service guarantee. If for some reason you ever have a problem, you come home and something just quite isn't up to par of where you want it. All you got to do, basically, I'm going to keep it simple. It's on the page down below, but if you come home and something's just not up to par, give us a call. We'll be back out. We want to make it right fast. We're not going to ask questions. We're just going to get out there and make it right. That's the way we hold our word to it. And I appreciate you watching this video. If you got any more questions, feel free to go ahead and send it over in an email, or pick up the phone. Just give us a call. We'd love to hear from everybody. So thanks.